Anyway, Libby Hills and Rath Chatham Borough, I just wanted to comment on the curriculum tonight since it's on the agenda, and in particular the high school freshman and sophomore U.S. history curriculum. There's a textbook that's listed in the curriculum for U.S. history, and there's also a book called A People's History of the United States by Howard Zinn. And I wanted to just bring it up to the board's attention. So I'd like to quote from the book in his afterword section. When he was asked how he came to write the book, he states that his own life experiences demanded that he tried to, quote, fashion a new kind of history. He also admits that, quote, when I set out to write the book, I was heavily involved in civil rights movements in the South and 10 years of activity against the war in Vietnam. These experiences were, quote, hardly a recipe for neutrality in the teaching and writing of history. Another quote, I had no illusions about objectivity if that meant avoiding a point of view. Further concedes in a New York Times interview that his work is a, quote, biased account of history, and says, quote, I am not troubled by that. I'd also like to read two quotes from his book regarding the founding of the United States. One is how he describes the founding. Around 1776, certain important people in the English colonies made a discovery that would prove enormously useful for the next 200 years. They found that by creating a nation, a symbol, a legal unity called the United States, they could take over land, profits, and political power from favorites of the British Empire. In the process, they could hold back a number of potential rebellions and create a consensus of popular support for the rule of a new privileged leadership. Another quote from the book is, for instance, there is the issue of class. It's pretended that, as in the preamble to the Constitution, it is, quote, we the people who wrote that document, rather than 50 privileged white males whose class interests required a strong central government. Our school system, on its website, espouses and teaches the art of critical thinking and applies that concept across all curricula, including social studies and U.S. history. On the STOC website, critical thinking standards promote, quote, clarity, accuracy, relevance, logicalness, breadth, precision, significance, completeness, fairness, and depth as standards that must be applied in order to achieve critical thinking. Critical thinking requires that facts are learned, opinions of all sides are read, and evaluated based on the facts and conclusions are drawn. Given the fact that the author himself, Howard Zinn, says his book is a, quote, biased account, I would ask the board to consider removing the book from the U.S. history curriculum in high school, or alternatively to add another, quote, perspective or viewpoint of American history in addition to pure unadulterated facts in a textbook. If we truly claim to want to teach critical thinking, not one way of thinking, I think it's imperative that the board review whether or not this book should be included as part of the curriculum. And I would also ask the board respond as to whether or not it will consider doing this and why or why not.